Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Is This Love podcast. The podcast where we get the giggles right at the very beginning of a show and navigate and talk about that weird and wonderful and sexy world of love and relationships. That's what we do, because that's our thing. We find it fascinating. We find it illuminating. And we're here to talk it with you out there listening. I just want to say before we get started and introduce ourselves, thanks to everyone who's been downloading episode number 10. For some reason, everybody wants to listen to that one particular episode. We're almost at 100, so keep going, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone listen to episode 10, because I guess that's our best episode ever. So check it out.
I actually tell people to listen to that one if they're like, what's an episode of your show? But 5 people, so
still,
it's not me.
That's pretty good. But anyway, I'm Francis, a.k.a. the other guy, and right over there giggling and in the most comfortable weather she could possibly manage is Miss Sara Nade. Hi, Sara.
Hi.
I feel like I feel very traditional when I call you Miss Sara. Like, oh, hello, Miss Sara.
Yeah.
It's very, very 1800s.
Is it Miss? Miss means you're not married, right? But Ms. means you don't know. I think.
Okay, I don't know. I thought Miss was just if you didn't know or if they weren't married. It was just kind of like the.
I think. Okay, I could be wrong here, but I think Ms. was you don't know, okay, or you're not saying for certain, and then Miss is unmarried and Mrs., of course, is married.
Right.
I think.
Sure, I think so, too. I think you're right. Or I can go back to the 1600s and call you Goody Nade, you know?
Wait, isn't that from that,
From the Scarlet Letter. From the Crucible.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be Goody anything. They all got burned at the stake. Oh, no, they got, hanged, didn't they?
Right. Well, the Crucible, because the Crucible, I think, was the one where they caught a bunch of women dancing naked in the woods, and they were trying to hide it.
Was that in the Crucible?
Yeah. They were because they thought they were witches or something.
They did. Well, all I remember from that one was all the trials and the hangings, and the one girl was lying about all of it to manipulate everybody.
Yeah, she was a baddie, not a goodie.
Yeah, she was definitely not a goodie.
I don't even know what to do with this information other than if let us know in the comments whether it's Ms., Miss, Milady, whatever it is.
Oh gosh.
Well, the thing was, Milady was until neckbeards with fedoras took it over.
Well, there was a period of time between when Milady was used and when neckbeards started.
Well, no, that's true. But then the neckbeard fedora wearers did the Milady thing as a way of being I'm a nice guy, Milady, right? That's their I'm a nice guy. You gotta like me, Milady.
I think they're I guess it's trying to sound like a knight.
Yeah, it's trying to be formal and trying to be polite. And that's the meme, I guess.
Yeah. And when you because the meme says neck beards, but I always wonder what that is. Is that you shave everything on your face except for your neck?
I think so. Or the beard just keeps. I mean, I have neck beard.
I think everybody's beard goes on their neck, doesn't it?
I think to some
unless
degree.
You totally shave it right at the chin.
I mean,
but most people I know have some on their neck.
Yeah. It's of course, it lines up with the I don't know. I
want to see someone with a big beard on their neck, and then they totally shave their face.
They do it.
So it's like a scarf.
Yeah, they do. I've seen that, and it's weird.
That is so really strange. Weird. I mean, but it's comfy in the winter.
Well, there was a contest a while. There was a reality show on TLC where it was beard wars, and people would
oh my God.
compete for the best beard and best mustache, and they would groom it, and there were people with egos, and they would challenge other people with beards and make fun of them, and of course, right?
I love that.
To other people with long beards. You call that a beard? That's more of a fur thing, whatever. I know what they say. It's more of a raccoon attached to your face, or squirrels attached to your chin. How dare you? So they had I think it was called Beard Wars. So there you go. There's no female equivalent though.
Some women can grow beards, but probably not probably not enough where you could like get them all on a show and like want to be on the show.
I meant more. I
did see something once.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What did you say?
I was gonna say I did see something once though where a lady was at like a barber or a hairstylist and they were like doing really cool stuff to her beard. Like she was like, I don't want to get rid of it. I want to make it look really nice.
Yeah. I mean, what? I don't think it wouldn't be very PC nowadays, but there were bearded ladies and whatnot in carnival.
Oh yeah, a lot of the freak show stuff would not be PC today.
No, you had the little people.
Pretty much any of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, except for I guess the strong man would be the only acceptable one because there was the strong man who was the freak as well because he was too strong, right? He'd be like really, I could bend a car. Yeah, I don't know why he was in the freak show. I mean, I guess maybe there weren't a lot of weightlifters. Yeah, there wasn't really like, I guess hardcore weightlifting back then, was there? No, not really. Right, like that wasn't a thing up until because people had to, people had to do other things, and then when we actually had free time, they're like, oh, you know what I want to do? I want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and. Yeah, and it was not like the fashion back then to be, swole. It just wasn't a thing, No, I don't think so. I think it was because they were too busy powdering their wigs and like. I think you're going a little further back than. Is that too far back? Okay, never mind. It's hard. I'm bad at history, but I'm just thinking of like TV shows, and I feel like Freak Show is like. Late 1800s, maybe early to mid 1900s. And I guess that's post the. No, yeah, that's about right. That's post powdered wig. Yeah, I think. I mean, they still have the powdered wigs in the courtrooms in England, or they did for a long time. I don't know if it's still a thing. In the UK, I think it still is. I think they still wear wigs and stuff and how interesting. Very formal still, while here in the U.S. we are, suits and dresses and pantsuits and all that stuff. But yeah, still pretty formal, but just not quite the same. No, I like the formality in like the UK courts because it's very, my good gentleman of Wales is about to take the stand. What say you, good gentleman of Wales? What is your problem? Oh my gosh. Right? And then go. I don't know. I haven't seen. Well, I'm just assuming that's like, but they say stuff like that. They say stuff like that, and they're like, oh yeah. and then they reply, yes, my good person of the Netherlands, we have to get rid of people. I was like, oh, okay. God, what is that voice? It is like old-timey, super fancy man. That's my new superhero. Old-timey, super fancy man. I'll rescue you. Good sir of the South, I'll rescue you. With my powdered wig and cane. I would read that comic. I don't read a lot of superhero comics, but I would read old-timey super fancy man. I know what our show art's going to look like this week. Oh my gosh, yes. I need to remember this because I mean by the time I draw it, like, it'll be like the day before. So I hope I can remember this so I can start like coming up with ideas for how to turn one of our hearts into old-timey super fancy man. Either that or the Crucible. I want either the Crucible hearts or the old-timey. Oh my god. Anyway. That's really dark. No, but it doesn't have to be. You could just have them all, wearing the old-timey clothing. They don't have to you don't have to have nooses or anything. You just have them dancing naked in the woods.
I don't remember that part at all. Are you sure that was the Crucible?
I'm pretty sure that's the Crucible.
All right, well,
because the only two stories I can think of from that time are the Crucible and the Scarlet Letter, and the Scarlet Letter is about cheating, so it's not about
no naked ladies in the forest.
No, not that I know of. I mean, there might have been.
That could be cheating.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I
mean, things could go down, you know.
Wow. Well, this is not how I intended the first. I had this whole question and stuff, but I think this was better. This was way better than that I had in mind.
So, we let it get away from us a little bit there.
I love it. It's great. So, speaking of things getting away from us, we have a question segment with the melodic tones of Sara. Or myself, I guess.
Yes. I think we should hear your melodic tones.
Is this love questions?
Oh, beautiful.
Well, it's fancy man. He's got to do.
I love it. Old-timey super fancy man.
Maybe I'll do like a weird impression every time we have to do questions. Oh man! All right. So sorry guys. This is the segment. This is the part. I don't ever explain this part, even though it's kind of self-explanatory. But this is where your questions, listeners, and questions we may find around the web, we ask them and answer them here in our best impersonation of people who know what we're talking about. So, Sara, what is our first question for today?
Our first question is, my long-distance girlfriend of 2 months is coming to my town next month to visit her family. She is my first girlfriend, and we will be going on my first ever first date. Where should I take her? Are there topics I should talk about or avoid? Do I go in for a kiss at the end? Help! I think it's sweet. I love the new dating people.
Okay, do you remember your very first date?
I can remember what. Sure, we'll call it my first date. It probably was. I think. I mean, we might have hung out. We're talking about when I was 14. It's been a minute. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I know what we did for our first date. We might have hung out before that, but I think we went to see the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Oh, wow.
In theaters. Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty. Because that came out, I think, very shortly after 9/11, right? It was pretty, right? Because
I think they had to change their promo or parts of the movie to get rid of the towers. I think.
They
yeah.
Did. No, they don't. The very first trailer has Spider-Man trapping a helicopter between the Twin Towers, so they had to remove that from the trailer because obviously of what happened. But there's at least two generations that have no idea what we're talking about potentially.
I know, that's crazy.
Isn't that weird? The biggest thing that's ever happened in our lifetime. There's children now. They're like, "What are you talking about?"
It is weird.
It is weird. But okay, so you went to Spider-Man, big deal, big deal. That's cool. And did you guys was it a meal in a movie or was it just a movie?
Yeah, I remember the movie the most, but I'm pretty sure we probably got food too. Probably not a steakhouse or anything.
Well, yeah, because neither of you were working
freshmen
at the time. Yeah, oh my god.
So, I don't know, maybe we went for pizza or something, but it felt very magical. I remember that. I remember oh, it's a date and we're holding hands and this is so exciting.
Oh, you like this one hold your hand? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Wow. And I do remember thinking movies are a really great place for a date because usually hands get held. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it's kind of where you can be sitting close to each other and you just keep inching closer and closer with your arm.
yawn and then
the yawn, or you could, I guess you could try that. But I mean, these people, they sound like they might be kind of young, so I don't know.
Yeah, first date. Well, again, from my understanding, again, guys are dating later and later in life, so it could be, college years. It might not be high school, even though flying in makes me think, coming to town to visit family. Oh, it could mean anything really. Yeah, because I've never dated per se, because all of my first relationships were from people I met online, so I never went on a date.
Oh, except for that could be that could be long distance, right?
Yeah. But I mean, we never dated. Like, we didn't go out, and we did, but I don't know if I can consider them a date. I think my first dates really were with my ex-wife, because she was the only other person of whom I was in a relationship with that I knew I met in person. Like, I met face to face. And yeah. And when we went to the movie, we just made out. We never watched the movie. just made out the whole movie, which is a weird experience. Because it's like we were watching Seabiscuit, which is another Tobey Maguire movie, weirdly enough. And yeah, it was just our faces locked on each other the whole time, and I felt bad for the people behind us because they probably just saw our faces in between the seats, just like. I don't think we were loud or anything, but boy, oh boy, we were just that's all we did for like movie upon movie upon movie. So that was our date. But 2 months, I like that, fresh, very fresh. Just open the package, still smells like when you open a new DVD, right, for the first time, or Blu-ray. What am I saying? This is a 2005. Are you kidding me?
Right.
You open up a Blu-ray for the first time, and you have that weird, like, plasticky, acetic, like, kind of manufactured smell. That's what this date is. That's what this relationship is. It's that really plasticky smell.
It's so cute. Yeah, it's adorable. It's the first girlfriend, the first date. Yeah. It's exciting.
They still have the redemption code in the Blu-ray disc. So yeah, I don't know. That's really nice. That's all excitement, all heart palpitations, all butterflies. Super adorable. Really cute.
It is. And they do ask, like, should I go for a kiss at the end? So I'm guessing they haven't talked about it with her, even though they do probably talk a lot, because, long distance relationships, I think people end up texting or calling, probably.
That's the only means to communicate. Yeah. So
yeah,
kind of take advantage.
She'll probably be more into it than somebody who, like, you're just going on a first date with and have never really done anything with before. But a good rule of thumb is to just ask. Say maybe, is it okay if I kiss you?
Oh,
when
I like that you skipped everything else. You skipped the where should I take her? What topics? You're like,
well, we talked about the movies,
yeah,
and I do think in addition to the movies, you should go get something to eat, because unless it's like in the middle of the day,
right?
In which case, I don't know, get popcorn or something. But I was just looking at, because you were talking about kissing in the movies a bunch, and I'm just saying she might be down. Because, you guys have been together, like, emotionally for a while. But just ask her. Just say,
yeah. Or, go on.
Is it okay if I kiss you? Yeah.
Or, yeah. I think nowadays especially, we have to, asking.
Yeah, you do need, it's important. Actually, I did hear it. You don't want to say, is it okay? You want to say, like, do you like, or would you like this?
Right.
Would you like it, like, to kiss? Would you like to kiss? I would like to kiss. Right. How about you?
Right. You're right. Yeah. It's There's a lot of ways to approach it. The question is pretty, because I don't know how much. I mean, obviously, like if we're going to assume that you talk all the time. We're going to assume that you guys talk a lot. It's been 2 months. It's a brand new relationship. I'm certain you guys are excited to talk to each other and get off of work or school or whatever you're doing, and then pick up that phone or get on that computer, get on the Skype, and see each other and whatever. I know that's super exciting, right? As much as possible. So I'm certain these topics have already come up, but where to take her. Like, you've listened to her, you know what her favorite food is. So you take her to that Italian restaurant because you know she loves caprese or something.
Ooh.
Right? You take her to that Italian restaurant, and you share your breadsticks, and you make sure you don't have too much garlic on your breath because, you don't want to be, especially since you want to have that kiss at the end. So
and you have to both get the same noodle on opposite ends of the noodle.
You can't see this, but I just lowered my head. Just like
he's embarrassed for me.
No, it's not that. It's just like hopefully you've seen Lady and the Tramp, and if you don't know what that is, watch that movie and you'll understand. But yes, I guess share a bowl of spaghetti.
And then one of the noodles will be one end in each of your mouths, and as you slurp the noodle up, then you'll kiss.
Yeah. Then there's no question about it anymore because you guys didn't stop slurping until your lips met, and then you just totally missed out on the whole. You both smell of garlic and you both smell of marinara, but it's okay.
Sauce all over your face.
Yeah. Just smeared, just tomato and meat sauce just smeared all over your face as you kiss with the Italian chef singing "This is the night." It's a beautiful night.
Yeah.
They're just
that's good
with their accordion and everything, and yeah.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, I do agree with you. Watch out for the garlic. Bring gum and mints.
More mint than gum, I think, because gum, it's harder to get rid of, if you're in the middle of wanting to, so just get the mint, get the Altoid if you're up to it, or whatever mint really kind of get, make it small, dissolves fast.
With some of those little, toothpicks that have a floss in the thing, shove some of those in your pocket.
Yeah.
You get something in your teeth.
Yeah. Oh.
We're getting so specific about, the food part.
Well, I think the first kiss is kind of important.
It is.
It tells you a lot about how you're, you want to, I guess it's a way of kind of impressing your date, right? You don't want it to be too aggressive. You don't want it to be too meek. You want it to be, she's smiling. I don't know why. You don't want it to be.
I love hearing this advice from a guy.
Oh. Well,
it's interesting.
I recently told a story of someone I was dating once who, when you look at her, you don't notice that her teeth may be bigger than you think, because this was a girl I kissed. I was dating this girl and I was going to kiss her for the first time, and our teeth clanked together.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she bit you.
No, I mean she did later on, but for the kiss, no, it was. We didn't have braces. It wasn't that kind of situation. It's just that she had bigger teeth than I was prepared for. And every time we went in for a kiss, we just clank, pretty much chip each other's teeth. So, you want to be able to take it slow, feel it out. Because, you don't want to be too aggressive and you don't want to be too submissive, I guess, either. You want to be passionate about it, but also you don't want to just start shoving your tongue down her throat. So you want to make sure that your first kiss is something that is memorable, because that's something that they'll hold on to. And you will too, of course. Because then if they're really bad at it, you're going to think about it. You're going to think about it a lot.
Right.
So
you're going to rethink this relationship. I'm kidding.
Well, no, not rethink the relationship. But just oh no, did I do something wrong? Did they do you're going to overthink things. So just really take it super simple. As for stuff to talk about and not talk about, I mean, the usual, avoid politics and religion.
Oh yeah, definitely. Avoid politics and religion. If she insists on talking about those things and they are not things you want to talk about, that's a little bit telling.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
But you guys have been talking for a long time, so it's really unlikely that that'll just pop up. And I think you guys can keep talking the way you have been. Just because it's a date doesn't mean it's super formal. What you talk about on a first date is more important if you haven't really met the person much before. It's also
they're meeting for the first time, right? Isn't this the meeting for the first time?
Well, they're meeting for the first time, but they've like talked and stuff because they're long distance, never met before. It seems like relationship. Okay. So, you guys just continue the conversation. Another thing that like people say on your first date, like you shouldn't say certain things, like you shouldn't like just talk about all of your problems or like, this or that. But you guys have been talking for a while, so don't use this as an opportunity to just unload on her, but do, keep it like kind of how you've been talking. It should be, it's not a huge deal because you guys are already like 2 months into the conversation. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
And plus, if this is your, meeting for the first time, it was a little different when I was doing it online and meeting them for the first time. Because we didn't have like FaceTime or we had like forget the name of that program on like Windows 3.1 that like lets you do video conferencing in the tiniest 180 by 180 box that you can see the other person's face. I did that once, so you don't know. I didn't have a chance to know what they look like, but this may happen to you because what they look like on camera and what they look like in person are very different. So I ended up, I think, for the couple of times where I met someone who I was dating for the first time in person, I pretty much was just like enthralled by the way they looked, and I just was telling them how lovely they looked and how great their eyes were, and how I just wanted to just admire them because I was like, wow, you look like just amazing. Compliment them.
Aw, yeah, that's a really good point. It is very good to bring up how lovely they look in person because I'm sure it will be different than like your FaceTime and all that. Even though technology is better nowadays, it is different.
Yeah, 3D versus 2D, very big difference. Yeah. So that's what ended up happening to me. So if that happens to you, good. I'm sure she'll appreciate that you find her very attractive, and then if you find yourself uncomfortable, just bend over, when you hug her. You don't want to poke her. That's rude. All right.
Like a really awkward bending over hug where your butt's as far out as you can be.
A-frame hugs. Do it. A-frame hug. That's the way to go.
I love it.
You can't tell you. Sometimes when you're with a person for the first time physically, you're just like, and you're a young man. I've never had that happen. Some things are just hard to hide. I'm just telling you. Well, you don't have.
God.
You don't. It didn't happen. Oh, you mean a guy never had that?
I've never had someone hug me like that. Like I don't think. Oh, you know what? Oh my God.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Weird. I think I have been hugged that way before, and I'm just like, oh, they're like trying not to like move too much. Like they're trying to not bend their knees as much as they normally would.
They just don't want to be rude.
That's so funny.
They don't want to be rude. They don't need to. They don't need to announce to you how they feeling right now. They just want to make sure that that's.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah. Well, you guys, ladies can hide their arousal. Guys can't. So
I guess so.
I mean,
yeah, that's very. I learned something new today.
A-frame hugs. If a guy A-frame hugs you, you'll understand. All right. Well, we hope we helped young person, may your date be full of kisses and A-frames. All right. What's next?
Yes. Good luck to you. Yeah. Okay. The next question is, my girlfriend is pissed that I got a lap dance at my friend's bachelor party and isn't talking to me. I don't think I did anything wrong. Lots of people do that at bachelor parties, and I told her about it and didn't hide anything. How can I convince her this is normal and it's not cheating?
Oh, well.
I feel like that's the lowest your voice has ever gone.
Well, yeah. Let me tell you a thing about bachelor parties and the strip club. No. I don't know. Well, you would. I don't know. You've never been proposed to, so you've never had this situation, I'm guessing. Or maybe have you been proposed to and you've gone through almost everything except the marriage? I don't know.
No. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I know it goes on in bachelor parties and stuff. Or not what goes on in all bachelor parties, but the typical or stereotypical bachelor party. And I know a lot of people think, well, pretty much almost any of the stuff that would not be okay most times, it's like, well, it's a bachelor party and there's other people around, so it's not a big deal.
Right.
But it depends on each other's boundaries, because some people don't mind if you go to strip clubs. They don't mind if you pay people online to like watch their videos getting naked. They don't mind. And I mean like paying people directly, not like watching porn, but like, going to someone's
cam girls,
their website. Yes. Some people don't mind if you post stuff online for other people to see.
True. Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true.
These people, I think, are much less common than the people who do mind. So you probably shouldn't just assume that your partner doesn't mind. And definitely before a bachelor party, but it's probably best earlier in the relationship to discuss what your boundaries are with these things.
Well,
because
is anyone getting married?
No, I think it's his friends. Yeah. But, you find out what your partner's, okay with and what you want, and find out each other's boundaries. And maybe, you need to have the strip club in your life.
Well,
and your partner says, I can't be with someone who ever goes to a strip club. Mm-hmm. And so then you guys are maybe incompatible, but likely you can just talk about your boundaries and figure some stuff out. But it's better to do that before you assume that they're okay with things like lap dances, because most people aren't, in my opinion, okay with lap dances to their partner in a monogamous relationship.
So I vacationed to Las Vegas a few weeks ago, and the vast majority of people who were there were ladies in their bachelorette sash, looking for some gentlemen to entertain them.
You mean like on the street?
Well, no. Like there are like the Thunder from Down Under and like a couple of the male kind of
Chippendales, yeah.
Stuff. And they're out and they have representatives out who like rub up against these ladies and get, and do all that stuff to take pictures with, because it's a bachelorette party and this is their last night of freedom, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting, not to say, I'm just saying that it does happen weirdly enough on both bachelor and bachelorette parties. So it's not uncommon, but it is true that there should have been a discussion. Now, maybe, look, it's his friend's bachelor party. He may not have planned it. And as such, may not have known that there would have been a lap dancer. What are they called? A stripper, I guess, yeah. Yeah. Or someone to, who was giving
or a dancer, I guess.
Yeah. But whoever was giving out the lap dances, he may not have known it was a thing that was going to happen at his friend's bachelor party, right? Otherwise, I feel like it would have been mentioned, maybe even if that, just as in passing, like, oh, by the way, I'm going to my buddy's bachelor party. She might have asked, oh, what's happening? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Or, oh, there's going to be a stripper. Then you may have had that opportunity to be like, whoa, mister, or Goody Proctor, whatever your name is. Like, you're not going to the bachelor party. Oh no, you are grounded. No, but they might not. They might tell their discomfort there. But I understand. Yeah. There are boundaries. You may not have the same boundaries as your girlfriend does. Your circle of comfort, or what is your personal space, may be smaller when there's a stripper involved. It's big when people are involved, but when a stripper's involved, maybe your personal space, your bubble shrinks.
That's not the kind of boundary I was talking about.
I'm just saying, I know you.
I have less boundaries with strippers.
Well, I'm just saying, like, for him, he's like, Oh, it's all in good fun. My buddy's getting married. This is his last night of freedom. This all makes sense, right? Because bachelorette parties the same way, damn it. Who's going to...
Well, I mean, they can be. I actually went to one of those bachelor parties in Vegas where we went to Chippendales. And I will say I did talk to my boyfriend at the time about it beforehand. I don't know if we talked about like specifics, like, if guys come down, I won't touch them, or I won't volunteer to go up on stage where they like dance in your face. I will stay as uninteractive as I possibly can. I don't know if we had that discussion or not, but I certainly would have agreed to all of that. But yeah, I think even if you're going to a bachelorette party, I think it's good to say to your significant other, here's what the plan is. Mm-hmm. Are you comfortable with that? And yeah, if you have a guy friend or a boyfriend who's going to a bachelor party, it's good to stop and be like, well, what's happening at that party if he's not just telling you? Yeah.
Like if it was in my case, like if I knew my significant other was going to a bachelorette party with a bunch of hot half naked men rubbing up against her, I'd say like take as many pictures as possible.
Yeah, I mean, some people are totally cool then.
It's just like, hey, that's kind of cool. Like that'd be funny to me more than it would be erotic, but it'd be funny. But like, wow, look at that. His junk is in your face. That's weird, but whatever. But
yeah, because it's like a show.
It's like a show, right? There's no. Yeah, it's not prostitution or anything. It's like actual, just like people being dumb and doing dumb things. So like, I don't care. Personally, for me, that's like my boundary. It's like whatever, you're not doing anything to them. You're just you're just going with the flow and having fun. As long as there's no actual like other stuff going on, then have at it. Go do your thing.
And I mean that's like your boundary, right? Like your boundary is not, I don't want you touching these guys.
Yeah, well,
but some people's are. Some people say, I don't want you to be interacting with anyone else. Like, you can watch a show, you can watch porn, but like no interacting with people.
Yeah, no, I find that at least in previous, in my previous interactions with my significant others in the past, weirdly turns them on even more when they're allowed, when they're like, they know that it's cool, right? Because then they're like, ooh, that was so much fun, and then let me show you what I did, and then I get the residuals, and I'm like, yeah, that was cool.
So, well, that's a whole other take on it.
Yeah, but that not everyone, that's obviously not the case for everyone. So yeah. So now the question is, it happened already. Look, it happened. This is now after the fact. And you want to know, what can I do to convince her this is normal and not cheating? Well, I hope. She's angry for the lap dance, but is the logic is that she thinks it's cheating? I guess it would be.
I think it must be something like that.
Like I guess it would be. It's not normal. First off, it's not normal.
It's not an everyday occurrence.
Yeah, it's not like a. I mean, I understand you mean normal for bachelor parties, but there are a ton of bachelor parties where dudes just go out, drink, right? Like hang out, bowl, play darts, whatever. Just like, it's just a bunch of dudes like getting together and just kind of like celebrating this upcoming marriage. Like that's what a bachelor party is really about. It's like, let's have some fun. Let's all celebrate. Just the dudes. Without the ladies, just the dudes. So we could tell our terrible, dirty jokes, and no one gets to, like we get to do all this stuff that we know we can't do in front of the ladies, right? And same thing with the bachelorette party. It doesn't necessarily mean all that stuff, but it's like, hey, now maybe it's like the burning of the sex toys or something. Who knows? I've never been to a bachelorette party. I'm just making stuff up.
It's lots of champagne and blowjob shots.
Oh yes, I know about those. Yeah, I've seen those. So yeah, you get those. You do the shots, and you get all just like you would with the dudes. I don't think there's a dude equivalent to a blowjob shot though. I guess it's the same thing actually. Maybe they did the same thing. Who knows? But yeah, it's not about convincing her really. It's about respecting her feelings and talking and kind of letting her know that, if it really upset her that much, it's let her know you're never going to do it again, and that you didn't know it was going to upset her, and you didn't realize it was going to be this big a deal, which you probably didn't, right? Because you didn't discuss it beforehand. So, I mean, she has those feelings for a reason. Don't invalidate her feelings for it, because she obviously doesn't like it, right? Just like you wouldn't want her to invalidate your feelings if you didn't like. Oh yeah, he just tweaked my nipples. I'm like, what? I think you'd be pissed about that if some dude just went and did that to her, right? Like, I think you'd be mad. But she's trying to convince you, no, it was no big deal. Like, you'd want her to respect that you felt slighted by that, and now she feels slighted. So it's up to you to kind of mend those. It's not up to her to mend it. It's up to you to mend it and see if you can't apologize. And you know, and let her know, you had no intention of cheating and stuff, and just make it up to her. I think. Yeah. I don't know.
I think you're right. Yeah, because you're trying to convince her that it's normal, but it's normal for some people and it's not for others, and I think it's not normal for more people than for those who think it's normal to do that in a relationship. Even though it was at a bachelor party. There's just certain rules, and if you want a free pass or whatever you want to call it, then you do need to discuss that beforehand. But just to assume these things are okay, I mean, if you want to take it a step further, what if you just assume what if she just assumed you were okay if she made out with a random guy? Yeah. So you could really take it anyway, and who's to say what's normal and what's right or wrong? It's how people feel, and you have to decide together. Or you don't have to decide together, but you need to talk together to figure out what each person is okay with and what they're not. So like Francis, like you were saying, it's not about convincing her. It's about finding out, okay, well, now let's find out what your boundaries are. And I did not mean to hurt you. I just didn't know what they were. And I am sorry that I crossed those, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm beginning to really, now that we've been answering more and more of these questions, I'm beginning to really see why relationships don't last very long for some people. Because, I'm thinking about this situation. I'm thinking about my buddy who, if he were in this situation, he would just lie. He would never have told his wife that stuff happened. He would have just lied about it and, been fine with it. To lie about it, as opposed to trying to work things out instead, because I think, and this is going to sound terrible, but I think a lot of people who are in life in general, just not just in relationships, often don't think outside of themselves, right? We don't. It's really hard to think outside of ourselves, right? So when we have something cool happen, like a lap dance, I got a lap dance from a hot chick on a bachelor party. This was amazing. Oh man, and that's all you're thinking about is how great that was, right? Because it was something new and it was something exciting. And so instead of thinking, well, is my girlfriend going to like this or not? Never crossed your mind, right? Never is going to cross your mind until after the fact. Which is why I think, a lot of people, instead of telling the truth, would have been well, now that it's done and I'm sober and I have a headache and I just got rubbed up on by a girl in a thong, should I tell my girlfriend what happened? Nah, better to save myself the headache, right? And then she learns about it from a friend of yours because the dude thought it was the funniest thing ever. It's did you hear about your boyfriend? He got this amazing lap dance from the... And then it just gets even worse because you lied about it or you omitted it or whatever. And it's just oh my God, what did you do?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't advocate lying or hiding, withholding stuff, because, man, it's going to be so much worse when they find out eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, probably to a negative degree, I am far too honest and far too truthful, because I've been lied to a lot in the past, and I'm I don't like that. I'm going to be truthful, and it's probably to a very detrimental degree, But cats like it, so it's okay. Hi, Pete the Podcat. No one can see Pete the Podcat. just pretty much suffocating Sara by crawling.
He's a shoulder cat. He just wants to be up in my face and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Go on.
I was gonna say I'm also like sometimes crazy honest to a fault. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll tell my boyfriend, like, I have to tell you something, and I'll tell him and he'd be like, well, I don't mind at all, but thank you for telling me. You know, like he's like, that doesn't bother me in the slightest, but I appreciate you telling me. And it seems like a lot of things where I'm like, oh, I need to come clean about something. He's like, well, I actually don't care, but I appreciate that you like told me something that clearly was, you know, bothering you. So you can go either way.
Well, I guess one last anecdote is, luckily I haven't been in a lot of relationships where my significant other would ask me an opinion about something they were wearing, right? Mm-hmm. So, but my ex-wife did. She asked me, do I look good in this? Do I look fat in this? Do I look etc. in this? And I know the appropriate answer is no if it's a negative, yes if it's a positive. Mm-hmm. I can't do that.
You can't tell white lies?
It's hard for me because I'm like, I have to go out with you in that. And I don't want to.
So it's not even that you have a hard time lying, it's that you think she's ugly and you don't want to be seen with her.
No. I don't think I've ever thought of the person I was with as ever ugly, but if I feel like what they're wearing isn't very good looking, I've actually said it out loud. I'm like, no, that doesn't, no. Don't do that.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. I think if you're like preventing her from being like embarrassingly like over or underdressed.
No, it's to me though. It's based on my preferences usually, and usually usually the people I'm with have really good preferences on what they wear. But on occasion, I'll be asked like, "Well, does this thing make me look fat?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's tight on you. Like, you know, it's tight on you."
Francis,
I know it's terrible.
It's terrible. Did you never learn this rule?
I did. I know the rule, but then again, nobody.
I mean, you have to find another way to say it.
I know. I right, because I will tell the person, whoever I'm with, the truth, and it's terrible. And I know. You got to find a way. Okay, you know what you need to do is you need to like find a clever way to make it sound like you like it, but make them feel bad about it. Like, if they're like, they're like, does this make me look fat? And you're like, no. Oh my God. I love how that, like, the sides of your stomach stick out. Cause that is so hot. Like, oh my God. I love your curves. Cause you know, that's what they're worried about. Right.
I'm kidding, by the way. Do not say that. That is not real advice.
Honey, that muffin top looks great on you. Let's keep that, shall we? Like,
that's turning me on so hard right now. Could you make it a little tighter? Is that possible?
No, I would. I was awful, though. I'm not gonna lie. I was very awful, and I felt bad. I felt bad at the end. I mean, because I made her change.
Okay, I don't know. There's just I think there's just a nicer way to say it than just yes.
Well, I figured I'd go straight for it instead of, beating around the bush. I'm like, what?
Yes, it looks bad. You look bad in it.
Yeah, more or less. No, that doesn't. I'll just say no. That doesn't. No, can you please change it to something else?
Oh man, we gotta.
We
gotta come up with some better phrases for you for how to like say these things.
No one's asked me since though, so I feel comfortable now.
That no one will ever ask you again.
No, I'm certain at some point someone will ask me how they look in something, and I will do my best to bite my tongue.
Just be like, oh God, I have something in my eye. No. I can't see anything.
I'll always be like, well, my mother said if I have nothing nice to say, I shouldn't say anything at all. And I turn around and walk away.
That's even worse. God. Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna have to work on this.
All right, yeah. We'll have to workshop this and brainstorm this. Yeah. Sarah's gonna save me from destroying any future relationships.
Oh, this is terrible.
All right. Well, despite my insistence on not writing in, Right Cow Left Coast continues to provide us with emails and questions, and I love it. I'm happy about it. I'm from what I can, there's still some grieving, and there's still some coping, and I completely understand that. But despite all that, he pushes forward, which I think is actually kind of a good sign, right? Like, I think sometimes one of the best ways to at least lessen the mourning process is to kind of just continue to live life and move forward, and never forgetting, right? Never taking that person out of your memory, but also like the bigger world outside continues to move on, and you want to move with it. So, as just like a cat across a screen, you just keep on moving, keep on grooving. As long as they don't sit on a keyboard or anything.
He just ran all over the keyboard. I hope he didn't close anything or ruin stuff.
I don't know. You'd have to tell me. It'd be really
Everything
funny
looks
if your
okay.
recording just stopped.
It looks like it's still going, but I don't appreciate when he does that when I'm in the middle of something like this.
So, I will. There's a bunch of just because he wrote a lot. Just want to say, yeah, he mentions a bunch of music that regarding his late wife, and just wanted. I think he wanted to share some of them. I guess, right? So. I've heard a lot of these songs in a while. I don't know Boba yet from Christopher Tint or Hoedown from Aaron Copland. Those are ones I don't know. But yeah, hey, Red Red Wine and Little Wonders and Viva La Vida. Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
UB40, man. Oh man, I haven't heard them in a long time. That's the problem with what do you call it? On-demand music is you don't get to discover new music as easily.
Oh, that's true.
Right? Like, because I have a playlist of 800. I don't listen to anything new. It's whatever's in that playlist of 800 that I listen to.
You don't listen to the radio?
Not anymore. No, I don't. Yeah. I don't.
Oh man, I love the radio still.
I don't know what's new. I don't know what the hit song is or what the song of the summer was. I think Blinding Lights.
I don't know that.
Like, Blinding Lights was the song of the summer, I think, a year or two ago. And, like, yeah, but there's always a song of the summer, and I don't know what it was. So,
I actually didn't even know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's always a song of the summer, yeah. Wow, yeah. There was a Dance With Me by, oh, my God. No.
Oh, yeah, they played that all the time.
That song was the song of the summer, like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, so, like, there's different songs of the summer. Yeah. Anyway, but he has a couple of questions here, right, that we wanted to hit. So, Sarah, what do you got?
Well, I do see. Okay, so I see one question.
Yeah.
He says, how does one secure the legacy of a loving relationship? Traditionally, the most extensive legacy is the children raised in the relationship and the many generations that come from that. But how does one do that if the relationship did not create children? Or does not create children.
Yeah. See, that's so interesting. I was talking about this to someone the other day. Maybe it was on here too. About legacy. Yeah. Right. Because, yeah, children are often legacy, right? They're the ones that keep the name continuing, going on.
That's true.
And in my culture, in my Filipino culture, even the maiden name moves on because my mother's maiden name is my middle name, and my father's
cool.
last name is my last name. So the middle name continues on with me still, right? And then if I kept the tradition and I get married and have a wife and I have kids, I would potentially continue that tradition as well and have my children have like my wife's maiden name, no matter if they're cool with it, of course, right. But have them have the maiden name. It's very Latin American Spanish, like very that's a very thing that's why a lot of Latin names are so long, right? Because it's like,
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's that's their ancestry all in the name, and we do it too to a degree. But I would continue that where I would have my wife's maiden name and my last name as part of my child's name, so that they keep that keeps going on and on and on and on. So
nice.
That's in a what if scenario, obviously, but like in the current scenario, I think for you, right, Cow? I think that her art is what keeps the legacy going. You're very fortunate to have someone who is creative in your life. Not everyone has someone who's creative, right? Yeah. Oftentimes we're too busy. We're working. We're trying to, maintain a life. We don't necessarily have children, so we just keep trudging forward until retirement, and then we die, and then there's no legacy. There's nothing. And you were very fortunate to have a wife that had art, and I'm certain there's art of the two of you that will keep the legacy going, because someone will have that art. That art will be somewhere. It doesn't just disappear or go away usually. Digital stuff is there forever, especially with the archives, with the Internet archives. Like, that stuff is just being stored constantly. Mm-hmm. As they say, what's put on the Internet stays there forever.
That's true. Yeah, it is there forever. Yeah, her art it's really fortunate that, with, the internet, that this stuff, like artwork, is always going to be there. Mm-hmm. And she had a few different galleries, so, she got a lot of different people to see her stuff, and people will remember it, and, people certainly, I'm sure, favorited it, and go back and revisit it. So that is a really nice way to remember her expression and how she, put forth into the universe through her creativity. Yeah. I think a lot of people with relationships that they want to create a legacy, they do things that sometimes cost some money, like creating foundations or donating buildings or things like that. But, I love is things in the park, like benches. Oh, yeah. I love reading the little plaques on benches, like fountains or different sculptures or little landscaped areas. Maybe have a rock with a plaque on it. Those are probably also kind of pricey, but I think they're really nice, monuments to people's relationships, because they usually will say something on the plaque about who it's for and who it's from, and a little bit about their, their connection. And I always really love seeing that in parks, because just being in nature gives you this sort of feeling of being close to something that connects us all, and you're just kind of in a better, more peaceful mood. And then you read about other, the people who came before on these plaques and things. And it just makes you wonder about them and feel good about, somebody loved somebody once. And I don't know, it's a good feeling to me to see that kind of contribution. It's a big deal too when people make organizations and they make fundraisers or they make, nonprofits in the name of somebody else. That's of course wonderful. And that's a great thing. But even just those little simple things outside with a plaque on them are nice. Yeah.
Maybe even go to your favorite place, the place that you always went to. For some people, that's Disneyland, for instance. And there's and the center of Disneyland here in Anaheim, between the parks, are these bricks on the ground. And the bricks have names, and they're dedicated, and they have that stuff.
Oh,
there.
Wow!
So there's that's their legacy too. They contributed somehow, I don't know how, to the park in some way. If that's their thing, right? I'm sure you can do that anywhere, right? Where I'm certain, Universal or whatever. If that's a thing that you did, you went out to parks or something, or if you went and to a beach, right? That you can probably do something similar. I mean, there's so many places that want to, because you're contributing to the infrastructure of the city and that place, and so they want to commemorate it by putting something out there. You can do something even as simple as, and this may be a little bit harder, but people do take the time sometimes to do this is they go to those places like the little, like where there's locks or something and little hearts and whatever. There's like places where they have little trinkets and writings that they just put on a place and then never touch again. And people come by and see all of the people who've contributed wishes and memories and all that stuff in those places. And oftentimes that stuff is still there, like years later. So I know that's a very like like there's like a wishing trees and stuff like that. There's like all of these different things where people just put stuff there, or the fences with all the locks with the hearts on them. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So those things are there forever. Usually, very, very. They don't normally tear that stuff down and remove all that stuff. They usually keep that there, right? So those are other ways, and it's a little, it's not as impactful, I guess, as something like the other things that are out there, but they're a little, they're not as pricey either. But yeah, it's sometimes the little things, because I hate, the sad reality is that most people in average life don't leave a legacy, right? On average life, don't leave something behind.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. And your kids might not, if you have kids, they might not care for you. They might not do a good job of carrying forward your legacy, even if you have kids. So yeah, having kids isn't a guarantee either. But yeah, if you want to start something that continues on with other people, that's because putting something out there into the world, physical world, that people will come and see, I think that's really, really nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Because people might not know you, but they will know of your relationship having seen that. And it's just you still are there in a way. Yeah. But there's other things, maybe there's a way to start a group or a club or something that doesn't cost as much as a bigger cause. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
There really are a lot, but that's the thing. There's way more ways than we're even mentioning, right? Because there's so many ways that people kind of leave their stamp and are creative about it. Whether it's a website that lasts forever, right? You can make a website that's always in loving memory of your relationship. You can do that. Some people, this is going to sound strange, but people are creative that way. Some people throw messages in bottles and throw them in the ocean. So someone discovers it becomes a thing, right? People document it and do documentaries on I found this note in the ocean and it's about this couple, and they want to do the research, they want to go back. Because people are curious and fascinated by these types of things, right?
Oh wow!
And and so maybe that's
that's really cool.
Yeah, but if you want to do something creative like that, but. The most important thing is, I feel I don't know how important legacy is, in all honesty, right? Legacy is great, but, having them in your heart always and knowing that they were loved and cared for, that's a pretty big legacy right there. And you have family still, and family, even if it's not your own kids, there's nephews, nieces that can continue that remembrance of you as a couple. There's friends who can do that. It's not just something you have to do alone. There's other people who can carry that on for you as well. So just remember that it's not, even though it feels very isolating, and this world is very isolating sometimes, there are people around you that can help continue on that legacy for you. It's not something you have to do by yourself, especially if you have the friends and family kind of infrastructure, which I know you do. So I'm certain we can keep that going on. Hell, like I said, we'll always talk about it here. You have a corner, and we'll always be talking about it here. So you already have somewhat of a digital footprint on the Is This Love podcast, because you'll have a segment, and if you ever stop doing this segment, we'll keep it. if someone else writes in, we're putting them in your corner, but it's your corner. Right? Like if someone becomes a regular, they get, I don't change to their name. They get your corner.
We're going to say you're not whoever you are. You're actually this other person because they had this corner first.
Right.
So
you're filling this. No, it's like a stage, right? It's like the Laugh Factory. Like you're presenting yourself onto the stage that is known as.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
As the Like How Love Goes corner. So
that's yeah.
So worry not. We're gonna keep your legacy going on as long as we possibly can here. There was one other really tiny question that I think we answered before, but I do find it. Do you ever love someone who didn't love you back? Was a question that was asked very briefly in after the music, and I was like, yeah, all the time. I just wanted to answer it like, yes, constantly. That is. I have a lot of love to give. Ain't not a lot of people who are willing to take it, but a whole lot of. I'm more than happy to give it to a whole lot of people. So. There you go. So I hope you're doing well there, right, Cal Left Coast. Thanks again for writing in. Really do appreciate it. If you want to write in as well, if you want to go ahead and send an email to us, that is thislovepod@gmail.com. It'll be in the show notes. You can go ahead and check that out. And, of course, the links to Right Cow's wife's art is still there. So if you want to help keep that legacy alive as well, go ahead and check that art out over at the Share Bear different galleries. Go take a look. All right. Here we go. We are getting into the... I don't know. Should we do a song for this too?
No.
No. Okay. We got. We're gonna wrap things up with an article because the internet is constantly trying to give us advice, trying to constantly let us know how to do relationships right. And this one comes from Psychology Today. What is it?
Oh dear! There's a large spider on the floor. That's not the name of the article. I need to take a quick pause.
All right.
Later that same evening.
Okay, that probably didn't actually do anything because I just dropped him off right outside, so he'll probably just come back in.
Not necessarily.
You don't think so?
Yes, gentlemen, you're right. You're wondering what Sarah's taken. She just took out a spider. Oh my goodness! Why is she not single? Well, because she took out a spider. She's showing how tough she is.
Oh, I can't kill him.
Yeah. No,
but I also can't let him stay.
Yeah, I know. That's how. I think that's the better way to do it. Is put him outside. I like spiders because they kill the things I don't like. So I like spiders a lot.
I mean, really, you should let them live in your house and kill the things that you don't like. Yeah. But they're just,
no, I know.
They're icky.
Well, for instance, I had a buddy of mine who decided, no, I don't know if I'm going to keep this particular spider in his house. He was doing laundry one day, and he's just putting stuff away, and he noticed something crawling by his feet. It's like, was that a rat? That was weird. It was shuffled by.
Oh my god!
He was able to capture the tarantula. Was crawling in his laundry room. God. And I'm like, that's a spider you don't have to keep in the house, I don't think.
No.
He even sent me a picture of it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a tarantula. All right. It's the size of his fist. So that was one spider. He was more than happy. But he lives in the mountains. He lives in the mountains. The dude went out to get his mail once, and right by the mailbox was a bear just sitting there by the mailbox.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, he ran. He's like, I did everything you're not supposed to do with the bear, which is like scream and run. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a good idea. But yeah, sorry, gentlemen. The spider whisperer over here is happily dating someone else.
Yep. Everything you could ever want in a partner.
Yeah.
Someone who takes out spiders. I mean, I do appreciate spiders for all I do, but a tarantula is too big. I wouldn't be able to capture a tarantula. I would scream my head off.
I was in shock that they caught it. I was like, why? don't capture it. Like, kill it. No, we don't have to kill it. But like,
just burn the house down.
Burn the house down. It's in your house. Just burn it all down now.
Start over somewhere new.
Yeah, it's not. We have plenty of houses in the world. Just find another one, please. But yeah, it's pretty. It was really intense. All right. Speaking of intense, let's get to the actual.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit of a detour. Okay, so it is 4 counterintuitive secrets for a happy relationship.
Oh. Now, this is what I love about psychology today. It is, it can have, like, because a lot of these articles come from actual PhDs, doctors, things like that. Yet they're just as varied and just as contradicting as people who give it, like, advice regularly, that it's like, oh, yeah, we're all kind of doing this world. We're all kind of roaming through this world, just like everyone else is. But they just happen to know more about it, or they could put fancier words to it and know more about it than we do. But still, it's just kind of funny. So we have 4 counterintuitive secrets. What are these secrets? Well, let's unlock them, shall we?
Okay. The first one is reveal who you really are from the start of your relationship. And I think this is counterintuitive because they're talking about people who are like, don't let them know what you're like because you'll scare them away. Or, you know, you have to like pretend to be this or that or the other. So this is just like the opposite end of the spectrum, basically.
Right. Well, this, you know, like we say often, it's a job interview. And so we put our best foot forward, and we neglect to say some of the things that necessarily we wouldn't say out loud in the beginning because it's almost a negative. Like, for instance, they're like, what is your worst fear? What makes you angry? Those are the kind of things you don't really want to talk about early on in a relationship because that could scare somebody, right? Like, oh, well, my worst fear is, I don't know, spiders or something, right? Like, oh, I'm definitely. Can you take the spider out? You know, person.
Yeah, that would work for me.
Right.
Okay, no, but I need someone because what about the tarantula?
Right.
So no, it wouldn't work. I need someone there for the tarantula.
Right. So okay, so yeah, you need someone for the tarantula. But what if their worst fear is yeah? So if their fear is spiders, then your tarantula problem is going to be a bigger problem. You know, and what makes you angry? Well, getting lap dances from at bachelor parties. That's what makes me angry.
Or the sound of other people breathing. That might be a problem.
So I must constantly kill.
Every time they can hear you breathe, they're just glaring at you.
There's some people who breathe really loudly. I mean, I'll admit that.
Yeah.
I know someone who they breathe through their mouth and it's really noticeable. And sometimes that's all I can hear when anything's happening. It's just, it's like, dude, you didn't run a marathon.
Can they not breathe through their mouth?
Yeah, I've only ever seen them breathe through their mouth. They don't know how. I've never seen them breathe through their mouth.
They don't know how.
I don't think they know how. I think that they're just incapable. I think their nose is completely plugged. Like,
that could be. That could be the case.
But yeah, showing your emotions, your happiness, your sadness, and your fears. Tell your partner why you are angry, frustrated, or hurt. Yeah. You know those little white lies that Sara keeps trying to encourage? Don't do that.
Okay, so you would be like, so first date, you should know I'm going to tell you you look terrible if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If it comes up, I'll say it. If it doesn't come up, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to ruin my chances 100% off the bat. You know, I'll keep some of that in the back burner for later.
Well, psychology today would say you should not keep anything on the back burner. It should all come out that first 5 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Okay, number 2. Be curious and open to discovering who your partner really is. Is that another emphasized really?
Yes, emphasized really.
Another emphasized really. Be curious and open to discovering who your partner really is. So basically, you told them who you really are, and now you need to really listen while they tell you who they really are. Yeah. Man, this is intense. This is an intense first date.
Well, is this all for the first date, or is this just through the course? Like, is it through the course?
Just the beginning. I think they're just saying it's like the beginning.
Like, oh my God.
We don't have time for a movie because we have to have like a 5-hour conversation.
Right as we're about to cut into our steak, we're like, hold on a second. Let me just tell you something real quick. I hate when people chew gum. Okay, bite. I'm really sensitive to body odor. Bite. I will tell you to look fat if you're wearing something that makes you look fat. Bite.
I only own one pair of underwear.
Bite. I'm actually just wearing the other inside out right now. Bite.
I only own one pair and I haven't done laundry in 5 days.
and then after the last bite, and also, sometimes I'll use my socks if I don't have time to do laundry.
For underwear. Yeah. I'm sure they don't mean to have you really be as honest as you possibly really can. But they did emphasize really.
Yeah. And then your date says, I really need to go to the bathroom, and then you never see them again for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like, why did
shocker. Well, I guess, kind of to their credit, they're kind of like saying, well, if you're super honest, then it might take you longer to find someone who, wants to be with you, but it'll be worth it.
I think it applies best to older people who are dating. I think younger people can get away with playing around and not being overtly honest at the beginning because you're young. You're technically still discovering yourself anyway. You're not a fully formed adult until you're 25 because your frontal lobe has finally been developed by then. So you have all this stuff that's going on all at the same time. Don't do that when you're young. If you're young, you're like 19, 20, 21, whatever, and you're dating. Yeah. I don't think you should take any of this advice because you got plenty of time to discover that stuff. You have years to discover
Enjoy the shenanigans.
Yeah, enjoy the shenanigans. Nothing's more fun than this discovery of finding out that your girlfriend wears her panties inside out because she only has one pair. Like,
yeah,
wow.
That sounds like so much fun.
What a discovery.
Yay, you're disgusting. All right, number 3. Right. Accept and even welcome both partners' differences without criticism. I don't see why that's counterintuitive. I feel like of course you should do that.
Yeah. Unless it's like, I like to cut snakes' heads off and drown and drink in their venom. Well,
yeah, you don't have to welcome everything that's bad about people. I think they should put that, yes, it's a little caveat, unless they're horrible, and then you should leave.
But it is right. Like it says, you don't have to have the same likes, dislikes, and dreams to have a successful relationship. I agree. I think you can even have different, and this is why I emphasize the whole. We used to have the whole politics, and I should really finish my sentences. The whole politics and religion thing. Because couples used to have differing ideas on what their thoughts were on those topics, and were very successfully in love, and actually could be in a relationship because it wasn't it wasn't what defined them. Their personality wasn't just these things that we're making our personality about now. Nowadays, we're really kind of, what I'm noticing at least is like, okay, I'm a diehard blah 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 fan, and that's my entire personality. Nothing beyond that thing, right? Like I love Johnny Depp, and that's it. That's it. That's the beginning and the end of my personality. Is that I am a fan. I am a stan of this person, and standing has become personality instead of like, oh, by the way, I have nuanced thought about things, and I understand that the world isn't perfect and that people are different and that there are whatever. Some people are just like that. And I'm noticing that a lot more amongst young people. It's like, I spoke with some young people recently, and a lot of their personality, I know they're more complex because I know who they are. But if on the surface it felt like, oh, their personalities are their fandoms. That's it. These things that they're fans of, that's all they can talk about. That's all they can have a discussion about. That's it. But I know who they are. I've known them for a long time, but it just happened to be in this particular case. Oh, and I'm related to them. So, I mean, so I should know them because
what are you going to do?
Yeah. But like, I know they're more than just their fandoms, but it just happens to be, an entire conversation for X number of hours, just like their fandoms, and that's it. So, yeah. So I don't know. So I'm glad that this is a thing. Like, yeah, I think it's important now because again, people already hate the moment they find out that one little thing that doesn't necessarily mesh well with their personality, right?
Yeah, and sometimes people think like if there's something about my partner I don't like, I need to figure out a way to change them or trick them into changing. And it's like, if it's not doable for you, if you can't handle this part of them, then it's just, it's not going to work. You should never go into something thinking you can change someone the way you want them to. People do change, but it's likely not going to be by your design.
No. Yeah, like they'll just change, and they might not even change in the way that you want to as time passes, right? Like they might change in not necessarily in a way you don't like, but just in a different way.
Yeah,
it just happens, and so will you as a person. You'll do the same exact changing in just weird and wonderful ways. That's why we love this whole relationship thing, because people are weird
and wonderful.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. If it's not something too crazy, what's your biggest if they are this way, it's a no-go ever? If there is anything.
I mean, there's obvious ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that isn't too, I guess, button pushy, I guess, because we're not here to push buttons on people, right?
I'm trying to think of a unique one that maybe I have, like a unique deal breaker or one that's not super common.
This is going to sound terrible and it's very superficial, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay.
But if you have afro armpits, I don't know if I can do it.
Do you mean just ladies, really thick?
Like ladies who just have right? And they
long.
And it's long and I mean, I know society asks a lot from you ladies to be pretty much just barren of hair in the entire body, but just the armpits, if they're just and they're they're attacking you like tentacles from Cthulhu, then yeah, that might be
So thick, long, unshaven armpits.
Unshaven armpits are not a thing that I mean, you don't have to shave
personally,
anything else. That's the only thing I and legs, I guess. That's kind of, but yeah.
I mean, I shave my armpits, and in the summer I shave my legs. Here, a lot of people don't shave them quite as often in the winter.
Well, you want to stay warm.
Yeah, you want to stay warm. You're wearing pants all the time. I do shave them periodically, just not as often as the summer. Yeah. I could probably get away with once a week in the winter. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Is there something like that for guys?
It's silly, and it's not.
Think about body stuff. So we're gonna go with body stuff, okay?
At least that way, yeah.
Because you took it there.
Yeah.
Really bad odor.
Oh yeah. Oh
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the smell of cologne or a really good smelling deodorant or just any kind of manly fragrance product you might wear. But even if you are like not wearing anything but just clean, that's great too. Mm-hmm. But then like the opposite of like a really great smelling person who's like put on good smelling deodorant or whatever is the person who does nothing. Yeah. And then you're just like smelling the result of that. And I just can't.
Why do you smell like Comic-Con? Anyway. Sorry, Comic-Con. You guys smell. It's the biggest
I don't think everyone smells there. I think it's a small percentage creates a large percentage of the problem.
Look. The small percentage makes like a cloud of about, I don't know, 30 by 30 yards. Like you could just smell it from a distance. Like it's just this big.
Well, I think I went by like the cosplay floor once where they all like get changed and stuff. And I kind of wonder if it has to do with the fact that like they can't get air in those costumes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. But again, deodorant. I mean, there's things exist to where you can, even when you're sweating profusely, you can minimize the smell. Like there's stuff that exists.
And I'm not talking about like how sometimes people have BO like once in a while because you know what, you couldn't help it. Your deodorant didn't hold out that day. Sure. I mean, people who just like don't believe in it or like don't realize that it's a serious habit you need to keep and maintain as an adult. Yeah. You know, like you need to shower and you need to like make sure you smell good.
That's right, Pigpen. Yeah. That's right. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4 is turn every negative into a positive and turn every problem into a beautiful solution. Oh my goodness. Rainbows and butterflies.
I will defend this one a little bit in the sense of oftentimes whenever we find problems, we just kind of concentrate on the problem, right? Like, oh my God, this thing is doing this or this thing is happening or blah, blah, blah. And we don't really ever think about like, well, okay, let's stop complaining about the problem and think of a solution, right? But we get caught up in like, I hate that this thing is happening, right? In the world or whatever, right? We always say that stuff. And nobody ever says, well, you know what we should do then? I don't hear that a lot. I hear that very rarely. Instead, I hear, this is what I hate versus, well, this is what we should do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case for relationships as well. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that I do think almost everything has some kind of silver lining if you can like just take a minute and step back and be like, okay, what is like the other side of this thing? Yeah. I do think if you something sounds just a little bit toxically positive about every negative is going to be a positive and every problem is going to be a beautiful solution, which is a lovely idea, but I think it's better to just say, you know what? I know that there's another way to look at everything, so I'm just going to try not to like, you know, blow up about stuff or let it take me to like a dark spiral before I take a breath and try to see it from another angle. Yeah. That's probably how I would say it. I think it's very strange to see like the wording this way in like a psychology article because
I mean,
you usually don't see them being so black and white about that kind of thing. It's good though. It is good to look for the bright side and stuff for sure.
I mean, this was done by a doctor/PhD, so I mean, I feel like they have some idea of what they're doing. But yeah, it does feel a little bit to rainbows and butterflies because not everything is perfect. You're never going to find 100% of the time a solution. Sometimes you're just going to have to. And it even says here, it's like, look, it could very well be that at one point in your life, one partner needs to sacrifice for the other. In this case, find a trade-off, something that will make the one who sacrificed realize one of his or her own dreams. So in other words, if somebody has to do something that they don't want to do or does something that they feel is a slight on them, to then kind of return the favor and return to even. In other words, the scales are unbalanced and you're trying to balance them again by doing something nice or by helping them achieve their own goals and dreams for their sacrifice for you. So I guess I can kind of see like, you know, it's not as rainbowy because there are sacrifices, there are ugly things to it, but it's like, okay, well, at least we'll try to cushion the blow and turn that frown upside down.
Well, I do think it's a good idea to like try to not be taking all the time or be the one making all the sacrifices or the one accepting all the sacrifices. I do think you should strive for some equality in there so nobody feels like resentment or like they've lost a bunch of time, or like they've left something behind and gotten nothing back because there's just all these sacrifices. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, you don't want to resent the person you're with because all they did was take, and never give. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's a conclusion here that says something to the effect of what? I can't tell. About
beauty in your partner's uniqueness. Yes. Oh. There is beauty in uniqueness. Mm-hmm. And the more you see that, the more your partner will reveal secrets to you. I don't know. I feel like this whole article is, it's got a very like idealistic feel to it. Like, like relationships aren't trouble as long as you just listen to each other and think and like realize that if you're kind, then all of the secret gardens will open to you, which I don't know. It's probably true some of the time, but I think this doctor has been writing his own prescriptions.
Wow. Okay. Oh my goodness.
I think he's just so much happier than just about any other doctor I've ever met.
I know, no kidding. And if those are the secrets for a successful relationship, secrets that will bring more joy to your everyday life than you could ever imagine in your wildest dreams. I'm like...
I think through his eyes, there's a lot of rainbows and like the sun is singing to him and he's like, yes, today I am me.
This guy's on MDMT, just getting all high. Just like,
he's doing some other trials now.
Doing some drugs. Just like, yes, everything is magical and wonderful. How dare you say otherwise? So there you go. I mean, both intuitive and counterintuitive. You take it for what you will, but be as high as this doctor is, because apparently, really, really in a good place right now.
Hopefully, he's just high on life. But I mean, how would we know?
That acid hit the spot, is all I'm telling you. All right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Sarah, for that. And thanks, everyone, for listening. You guys have been amazing. isthislovepod@gmail.com. If you want to send your questions, emails, maybe even articles, if you want us to read something in specific. You can also go to your pod remover, catcher, whatever it's called, either Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Review. Please review. That's all we ask. Something small, something simple, something we can read on here. That'd be kind of cool. And we'll totally do it, too. And that'll help people discover the show. And if you are share episode number 10, apparently, because that's like the peak. That so far is peak Is This Love right now. So go ahead and share that episode with everyone. Is This Love Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We have pages all there. Thanks again for people that are continuing to like it. I've been slow on putting up articles, but I'll put some more soon. And AKA the other guy on Twitter and Instagram for me personally. Sara, Nade, and Pete the cat, I think is what you're called in Instagram. I think
it would be Sara, Nade, and Pete.
Sara, Nade, and Pete on Instagram. Yeah. So you can find Sara there. And I think it's, so go ahead and check that out. Maybe I'll get it for real and put it down somewhere so I can give it to you guys for real. So it's not just us guessing. But go ahead and check that out. Thanks for listening. Thanks everyone for hanging out. And don't forget to, if you're going to do something terrible to someone, suffocate them with your boobs. I wouldn't mind. All right, bye everyone. My lady.